C4 Sports back in the place to be. You already know what it is. We are live in Macomb Studio 326. We're going to go ahead and get into this NFL talk. For y'all who do not know, and for those who do, Roger Goodell gave a speech today. This is his first time speaking, I believe, since the whole Ray Rice incident took place. And he actually had a few interesting quotes. He talked about, as Ryan mentioned earlier, a new personal conduct policy that he wishes to have in place by February. He said that he won't resign from his position. That also he re-said once again that he got it wrong with Ray Rice, and now it's the time to get everything right. And two interesting things that I saw, well, that are actually it's 2 to 3 interesting things that I heard. Once somebody asked him about how when Sean Payton was suspended for the whole Bounty Gate thing, Roger Goodell came out and said, ignorance is not an excuse. However, Goodell seems to be highly ignorant right now, and he's using it as an excuse, talking about he got it wrong, and now he's trying to get it right. So he's going back on his words. Also, Rachel Nichols got a lot of applause or whatever on Twitter because she asked the commissioner, why is it that you say that you tried to get the videotape, but the Atlantic City Records Office says they have no record of communication with the NFL? Roger Goodell responded with, according to his security office, they tried to get the tape several times and they were never able to get it. Which, first of all, I don't understand how it's your security office trying to get it when you could have called yourself. And he said supposedly as if he's not the head of the whole league. And then TMZ went ahead and said they got the tape off of one phone call while the NFL has a whole legal system and they never were able to get it. And then Outside the Lines just reported right now that the Ravens management actually pleaded with Roger Goodell to give Ray Rice a lesser sentence instead of him being cut. Now, I don't know if this actually took place before the videotape. I know ESPN just broke that news right now, and they have a whole article up on ESPN. So I encourage y'all to read that after this C4 Sports goes off. Don't read it right now because you need to listen to us. Okay, but after we go off, y'all can go ahead and read it. I'm going to read it myself. So I don't know if any of us actually got to see the press conference. I know I didn't. And also shout out to my dad for giving me that Outside the Lines information through text. But what do y'all feel about what Roger Goodell, what he said? Basically, he really didn't step up to the plate. He didn't answer really what happened with the videotape. Why he didn't admit to seeing it once again, even though we know he did. He claims that he never got it still, even though he said he reached out for it. And the Atlantic City Records Police Department saying that they never had NFL communication. So what do y'all feel about what took place today?
I heard bits and like the bits you said. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
To me, he should not resign. I think he's more a positive than a negative right now.
Okay.
Even if there's ignorance going on, I'm still giving Goodell the benefit of doubt, because you always have different sides of the story, and I'm going to look at him without judgment, and you know how corrupt the NFL can be. You know how corrupt the legal system can be.
Yeah.
Criminal justice system. So, I mean, I think both are just trying to cover their butts, and whoever's pieces of paper comes out or email coming out that it was sent and said something, until then, I'm going to side with Goodell. But if this new Outside the Line story, it's Jim Harbaugh. Let's see, is it Jim or is it John, who's the head coach?
I always confuse it.
I think
It's John.
I want to say it's John.
Yeah, it's John. I get the Harbaugh
they look
brothers.
exactly the same.
They do.
And they both are J's.
Yeah. That even puts him in a tougher situation. John Harbaugh was put in. Now looking at this, was put in a more difficult situation when he had that press conference, because his owners and executives were trying to lessen it, and he had no idea either. If this is true, why? Why would you want a lesser punishment for after the video? It's like you're saying we still want to give him a pass. And I don't get that.
I would say it's all about what they like to call protecting the shield, which is pretty much they've screwed that one up pretty badly over the past week. They're trying to manage the image of the NFL. That's why they tried, to cover up that video, and they're trying to get away with giving them a 2-game suspension, as they want to be like, oh, the NFL doesn't have an image problem. Goes back to what we were talking about last year, how a lot of people think the NBA has an image problem, especially in Middle America, when really it's kind of the exact opposite. I think it's the NFL that has a big image problem, and not so much the NBA. And it's coming out especially this week. Adrian Peterson, that guy on Carolina, Hardy, Ray Rice, obviously, even Roger Goodell, the commissioner, now has an image problem and a credibility problem. So the NFL, they're not going to lose money, because don't kid yourself, people. Baseball is not America's sport. It might be America's pastime. It's not America's sport. America's sport is football, 110%. It has been for a long time. So the NFL is going to continue making money. They're going to continue to run the sports world, at least here in North America. So, and even now they're branching out into Europe, because I know London's pretty American football crazy there too. They really want a team there. The only really thing stopping that is the logistics, how they're going to do that for a season and stuff. But the NFL is going to keep moving on. And in terms of should Goodell be fired or not, I kind of agree with you, Ryan. I don't think he should. I look at it almost, I don't want to say necessarily 3 strikes you're out, but I do believe in forgiveness, and I believe in atoning for your mistakes. This is a bad mistake. This is a big mistake. Like I said, I used to maybe not be a fan of Goodell, but I respected the man, and I respected how the consistency in his decisions, and this broke up that consistency. So I've lost a lot of respect for him, but I'm not about to give up on him fully yet. But he's on thin ice right now. He's kind of, if you want to say he's on probation, I'd say I'm putting him on probation right now. Is if he messes up big again, or not even big, if he messes up even a little bit again, that opinion might change. It all depends on what he does. But I think for this is putting him on probation. Not out, but on probation for me.
One thing I always think about all the time with all these stories coming out is when Mark Cuban, I believe last year, said that within 10 years the NFL will implode. And right now you can't really see that happening. Like you said, Matt, they have a lot of money coming in. And they make more money than any sport in this country by far. And at the time when he said that was when all the concussion stuff was taking place. And you would think maybe the game will get softer, as it has, but that might not really cancel the league. But when you have stuff like this, like legal issues, and it seems every day, I've said to both of y'all, every day it's a new NFL player that's coming out with a new problem. If that continues, I wonder when will it get too much for the fans. Because, look, after this subject, we still going to preview the NFL games today. Yeah. We still going to watch them on Sunday. Well, the ones we can watch, but that's a side story. Freaking soccer taking up my time watching the Cowboys. But we still going to watch. We still going to, be fans, buy the merchandise, everything. Yep. But when does enough become too much? You know what I'm saying? When does it get to a point where it's you can't really respect the league? Like you said, you lost a lot of respect for Roger Goodell. The players aren't looking good as a whole right now. There are it's infighting between the league with the old players. Players are fighting each other with all this. They don't like how they're being judged by the media, which of course you don't, because one person gives a bad name to everybody. Yeah. So I'm just wondering, when does it become too much? When is it that an organization, we know the women's organization tried to have Goodell kicked out, which that of course not going to come to anything. But how long is it going to take until somebody really stands up and tries to protest the league? Because I feel like somebody's going to end up doing it.
Maybe. It's just, I think like you said, at the end of the day, everybody's upset, everybody's kind of outraged, but come 2 days from now, when at noon our time, everybody's going to be sitting on their couch watching the games.
Exactly.
They might have a scowl on their face and talk about this guy's a punk, this guy's a thug, this guy's a woman beater. But they're all going to be watching, and everybody's going to be checking their fantasy team. Because I think that's something people don't take into account either, is there's a lot of money in fantasy. I don't know if you've seen the commercials, that FanDuel.com, the one-week fantasy leagues. Yeah. How do you think they have all those money to advertise that?
Every day.
Yeah, exactly. They're making a boatload of money, to quote them directly, as they can give away $5 million a year, because fantasy football is the hottest thing to do in American sports. Like, people who don't even like football will play fantasy football. Yeah. And I just don't see it ever happening. The NFL, I don't think, will ever really go away. Like, I don't think anything could happen. Like, the entire league would have to be a league of mass murderers for football to really go away. And there might be an image problem. There might be maybe individual groups like this women's rights group right now that stand up and protest, but this is America's game. I think it honestly always will be. I think hockey and basketball are on the rise, especially basketball. But I just don't see either of them truly overtaking football because think about when you're a kid. What's the tradition with your family or your friends? You gather once a week, every Sunday, and you watch football. You get good food. You spend time with friends and family, and you watch football. And I think that's what makes football so much more special than the other sports as it is. It's once a week where football, especially baseball, you got so many games. Or excuse me, I said football, especially baseball, but hockey and basketball are both 82-game seasons. Baseball's like, what, 170?
162.
Oh, my Lord. No, that is just, it kind of takes away from the novelty of I think basketball and hockey should be shortened, at least 10 games, but football, it's just it's an American kind of tradition. It's every Sunday, in the fall and the winter it's football, and I don't think that will ever change, ever.
Yeah, I'm quoting somebody from ESPN, I forget what show it was, but Roger Goodell has been more reactive than proactive.
Yes, yeah.
And we could say that about the criminal justice system to no end. And I'm really waiting to see what this new conduct policy is. That could be a game changer for him. If he hits it right on the head and does stuff that is going to show, okay, you've learned, and now it's in place. Let's see it, and let's see it be used accurately. But what I'm waiting for is everybody wants to hear from Goodell. I want to hear from the Players Association.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah,
we haven't heard anything. It's like, hey, yeah, we're going to defend Ray Rice and try to get his suspension down, and that's probably more. They have to because they're a union.
That's their duty.
They kind of want to say, hey, Ray Rice, just take a back seat for. They would love to do that.
Yeah,
but they couldn't. It's a union, and then you're just asking for even more trouble there. But I want to hear. I want to hear a spokesperson from the PA, not just about Ray Rice, but about all these things. Like, what are you as a union doing for your players? It just can't be Goodell versus the players. It has to be the players' union that stands up and say, hey, we have a problem. We need to do something also. Yeah. And it seems like the Players Association and the Commissioner's Office is not talking. And I need to see that.
Yeah,
now.
that's what I've been waiting to see, because just in general, I'm very anti-union on anything. But this is not a political talk show. This is a sports talk show. So that's why I've just kind of been sitting back and I'm waiting for the union, because I'm just kind of like, where are these guys now? Like, why aren't they saying anything? They're right there whenever money's involved. Whenever somebody's trying to take their money. Because the players
lockout, you heard plenty of them, but now no.
To me, the players union is a lot. I think they have similar motives to what you see the NCAA. I think they're both kind of a little bit archaic systems. I don't want to say you don't need the players union, but I think they bite off more than they need to chew. So that's why I compare them to the NCAA, and that's also just because I don't trust unions in general. But that's why it's been interesting, is now one of their own looks bad, and they're in a tough position, and you don't hear one thing from them.
Nothing. 4.
Well, supposedly, according to Roger Goodell, from what I heard today, he hasn't been talking to DeMaurice Smith, and he's going to talk to him next week. Okay. And I put that on Roger Goodell, because at the end of the day, he is a commissioner. We may want to hear from the Players Union, but the Players Union is not the head of the NFL. Mm-hmm. Roger Goodell is the head of the NFL, so it's his responsibility to have his league looking right. And they don't look right. So I don't expect the Players Union to really speak up, because what are they supposed to say? What can you say right now? Your players look bad, but what can you say to fix that?
I think they got to say something.
But what can they say?
Exactly.
You have no idea.
What do they do? Do they take Rice's side and say we're going to back him no matter what because that's our duty?
You know, there's people in that association going like, I don't want my name on this.
Right, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. The players are infighting themselves. There's definitely, if the union comes out and say that there's going to be players like, heck no, we ain't supporting Ray Rice. But at the same time, why are you saying anything when the commissioner can't even get his story right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be saying that either, because as far as the mass media, I haven't heard too many people saying that bad about the players.
Because as soon as you say something about them, their credibility goes down when they want to fight. Ray Rice is the only one that's going to appeal as of right now. Adrian Peterson, Dwyer, and Hardy, as of right now, are saying, okay, we're just going to take it because right now we're still on the team.
And because they're still getting paid.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're still getting paid. The only reason why is if they find that they give Ray Rice some money, I might lose hope in NFL a little bit more. I think that's just
no. I think the only way they can, and I'd be okay with it, is because it's kind of like whether it was right or not is a separate debate. But they did go back on their word. It was initially just 2 games, and like it or not, that's double jeopardy. So that's why I think Ray Rice is technically in the right here, because that is double jeopardy. Morally, obviously wrong.
Right.
It's just that's on the NFL. That's on Goodell. He messed up, and it's his mistake. And I don't really think it's fair to Ray Rice. Morally right or wrong is a separate debate, but it is double jeopardy no matter what way you look at it.
I agree with you all the way around on that one. And Ray Rice, at this point, I mean, I don't really like the indefinite suspension thing because, first of all, indefinite, I don't like when people don't give timelines. I don't like when people just speak broadly. Give a definite suspension. How long is that? If you want to kick him out for life, then say lifetime. It's not going to be lifetime. If he was still producing, he'd be back in the league, I guarantee you, by the end of this season. Mm-hmm. The fact that he's not producing, maybe Baltimore was able to get away from it, and they didn't really care that much. But this is really all on Goodell to me. He's the one making the decisions, and then when new stuff comes out, he pretends like he didn't make those decisions in the first place. So that's why I feel like he should lose his job. It's not just because it's media outrage, but like you said, he's been reactive instead of proactive. I don't like any leader who's standing back and then waiting for something to happen before they step up. His history shows that he wanted to come in the league, and as soon as Roger Goodell came in, his big thing was about changing the culture of the NFL. Remember, that's when Pac-Man Jones was having all them problems. He was all about, we're going to make this a better league and all that. Well, the league's not better right now. It might be making money, and like we said, that's all.
I just don't think he's been successful in changing the culture. Because whether you want to make the game safer or make it a better image, it starts with the culture of the players and what's in the locker room. And he hasn't been able to change that. And honestly, I don't think you ever will. I really don't think you will.
And
but should that be more on the teams? I mean, Goodell can't go, or Goodell and associates can't go to every locker room every week and go like, okay, what are you guys doing? I mean, it has to start at the home base and work your way up.
Yeah, I kind of agree. And with
I don't even see that because I'm sorry, but see, what was it? The Dwyer incident.
Mm-hmm.
That was in August.
I think August
and
or
the
July,
first
August,
and
like
Arians, the first time he heard about it was when he got arrested.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't he have been saying something? Because it is under the contracts that if any incident happens off the field, that is, I think it's any incident that is, I think that charges could be made. They have to know. They have to let the executives of that team know. He didn't, so he's in the wrong right there. So. And I guess that's what's the most shocked me about Dwyer is that he didn't say anything. Because it's not for the NFL, it's not for the coaches to say each Monday, all right, or each, they might have 2 days off. Because like, okay, what did you do this weekend? Anything bad? It's not them. You have to step up and say it. Mm-hmm. And for him not to say it, it's on him. And I think that's what you go like. You have to. If I did something wrong and it could jeopardize my stance in the team, I would say something. Like, hey, stuff went wrong. I did this and that this weekend. At least you know. So you can get the punishment. If you found that it goes like, coach suspends player for 2 weeks, and then it doesn't even make it to Goodell's office, or if it does, it goes like, okay, we agree with that punishment. We're not going to take any actions because you did that. I think it needs to start with the teams taking responsibility and getting stuff done before it even gets to the commissioner's office.
Now, I agree with you on that, and that's nice. But who in the world is doing that? There is nobody that I know on the face of the earth that if you don't think you're going to get caught necessarily, who's just going to come out and admit that they got into a domestic violence dispute at home? Nobody's just going to come
I'm
out
not even saying that. I'm saying any incident. You're supposed to report any incident that has happened.
You're supposed to technically, but nobody's going to do that. Because if you don't think it's going to get out, why would you say it? Nobody's going to tell on themselves.
Nowadays, it's going to get out.
But they don't know that his story happened in July, August, and just getting out right now.
It got out, though.
It did, but he didn't know that at the beginning. So he took the chance that it might not. So nobody's going to tell on themselves. Now, I agree with you. It's on these players' responsibilities. Every single one of these players are grown men. Every single one of them. It is their fault for all the stuff that that happens going on right now. That's not Goodell's fault that these players act stupid. It's not his fault at all. He's not the one. And you're right, he's not supposed to talk to every single player. Oh, don't do this, wag your finger. He's not supposed to be doing that. They're grown. But when he's not answering for it, and he's the leader, you said it happens in-house. If your leadership's not right, then the rest of the house is going to fall apart. And the leadership is not right. He is not right as a leader, and as we see, the rest of the house is falling apart. The rest of the house is the NFL. It's supposed to be right up top and work its way down. And up top is not right.
I know there's been some talk if he is replaced for Condoleezza Rice, and I think that would be interesting because I remember she was a candidate when Tagliabue retired, and that's kind of who I wanted to see take over because I know she's a big football fan on that voting committee for college football now. So I know there's been some talk about that. I don't know if there's any credibility to it. Probably not. But that's something interesting to think about, and I would honestly wouldn't mind seeing that should Goodell lose his job. But Mr. Adam Feiner is in studio now. And Adam, before we take our second break of the show and get our Western baseball update for the week, what are your thoughts on Goodell and his press conference that happened today?
I was actually in class when it took place, and then went to practice, so I didn't get to see it, but I'm kind of, reading up on it now. The first thing I like that he did do in this press conference is he admitted wrongdoing. And he should, because he would have been absolutely blasted by the media. I mean, he was totally wrong, and the league's wrong as a whole. I mean, it starts at the top and then trickles down. The thing that I want to see going forward is this new conduct policy that they're talking about. What's entailed? Are they going to be harsh? Because if you do remember, early in Goodell's tenure, he was harsh on players. And I think Tagliabue kind of got, away from disciplining players, and Goodell stepped in and did a nice job. With the whole handling of Pac-Man and Michael Vick and, all those. See, what I have a problem in this whole thing, though, is, the commissioner's exemption list. Like, why are these players being paid when they're being exempted from their teams? Taken away from all team activities. Why are they being paid then? I don't get that. I'd look for a change there. And probably harsher penalties, because you've got the women's rights groups up in arms now, and rightfully so. You've got a whole bunch of groups angry at the NFL, and that's just not okay, because the NFL has grown so much to where it's one of the largest organizations in America.
Yeah. I would kind of agree with that. I think you made some very good points about that. I guess why they're exempt, wouldn't you think it's because it's in their contract, maybe, that even if they're suspended, they still get their game checks, I think?
I believe so. Seeing that's a totally different issue, because you're going to go against the players' union then.
Yeah.
And, DeMaurice Smith is not going to back down from saying, my players should be paid regardless. It's right in their contract, so then you'd have to redo the entire contract thing, and lots of changes, but rightfully so.
Yeah, you could say it's a slippery slope.